Right.
Only 5 commissioners on.
7:07. 7:07 starting the meeting. And did we look over the minutes? There are a little bunch of things need to be fixed. I saw.
And Dana, maybe you want to do roll call or attendance.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It's a good thing you're here. We are missing Jordan Hensley, Lisa Grant, and Barry Bellardinelli. When present, we have Eric Chandler, Tom Livingston, Dana Laird, Liz Golden, Holly Kazone, Mark Jackson. Who did I leave off? Anybody? I think that's everybody here. So those are the commissioners on board, as well as Patsy Brescia, Todd Bryant, and who else is Diane Jelleret. I'm wondering about sending a different version of whether having us poring over the minutes or having one person submitting a corrected version to Laura. Because there's a few little.
Didn't Barry send corrections?
Okay, I missed that because, okay, so Barry sent.
And I sent corrections as well.
Okay, I missed that today. Getting used to my new email, I guess. By the way, the old email doesn't go anywhere, so that's why I have a new email. Vanishes into the ether, I guess. So how do we, did everyone read did we see the corrected versions, or I didn't see them? How can we vote on that?
I have not seen corrected, I've not gotten a response to the corrections I sent in.
Okay.
Dana should defer the next meeting then.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Shadow Tom.
If I need to resend them, who would you want me to send them to?
All of us,
Okay,
except, Pat, including Laura.
I'm not on the emails for the original. Like, I never see the minutes.
Oh.
I'm
Okay,
wondering
I
if
can
I
send those
could
to you.
reach out to someone about that.
Well, they TelSec should be sending you the minutes as well, because whether I get the minutes, I don't know who else gets the minutes and the bill. Okay, so we'll defer the acceptance of 2021 minutes until next month's meeting. Do I need to vote on that, Tom?
No.
Okay. Next up, public participation. Do we have anybody? I don't see anybody.
I'm not seeing anyone.
Okay.
I put Todd Bryant's agenda item on under public participation.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's how you want to structure it, but that's how I added it.
Yeah, let's do it now. Okay, Todd, you're the public tonight.
Hey, not the first time.
or the last.
Yeah, probably not. So what I wanted to mention is that with this confusion over the demo delay for one Old Kings Highway, unbeknownst to me, my email, the alias email that I was using to file the delay wasn't working. So it didn't get in when it should have. So it occurs to me that maybe and I talked to Laura about this too, and she agreed with me that maybe we should, there should be more than one. Maybe the historical commission should weigh in on this every time there's a demolition that you find questionable. That I'll do it as best I can, but better to have more than one. And especially since you're a city commission, you've got a little bit more weight than I do. So if we can get two of them for one of these, I think that would be better than just one that might go astray, since like it did this time.
Okay.
If you hit send, wasn't there a timestamp? So wouldn't the state be able to recognize that, or the city, even if there was an error in your email?
Yeah, but it never, the problem with the email, thank you, Optimum, is that it doesn't bounce back. It just goes off into the distance somewhere. So yeah, I was able to find them in my sent file and forward them to Laura, who forwarded them to Bill, Ireland. And it ended up working, but it didn't need to be that clunky. So it seems to me, if you guys are, also feel that there should be a demo delay, that it would be useful for you to file it as well.
All right, that's fine. No, I mean, that makes sense. So were we able to invoke the demo delay or no?
Thanks to Laura, yes.
Okay. No, that's fine, Todd. I don't have a problem doing that.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Something that came up as this was all happening with the buildings department yesterday was that another benefit to multiple people putting in a delay request is that if Todd suddenly decided he wanted to pull his because of, an unknown reason, he could pull it and the delay could move forward, even if Dana still felt that there should be a delay. So I think there's a few reasons why multiple people. Another thing came up was kind of the looks of it. The applicant kind of made it sound like, oh, if the historical commission didn't put in this delay, they must be okay with it. And it's my understanding that some of the commission was not. So just for there's a few different reasons. And then like Todd said, where if there's ever an email error, it's probably a good idea if we get a little bit more formal with the delay requests.
Yeah, I think it's a really good idea. Because, we can't let this stuff kind of just slip away from us because of a technicality or a technical glitch. And also, just to give you an update on what's happening, unless you're gonna do it, Laura. I spoke to Todd Levine at SHPO's office today, and they are aggressively pursuing this issue. Just not that long ago, less than a half an hour ago, I talked to Attorney General Tong, who was interested, and my understanding is that he would support whatever Todd Levine and Marina Wisniewski come up with at the SHPO. And of course, our friend Alan Pinansky at AG's office.
Thanks, Todd.
Great.
Thank you, Todd.
Laura,
Sure.
is there a way I could get a Norwalk email so I have that seal on my emails, a Norwalk email address, maybe?
I'm not sure, but I can definitely look into it.
Okay, thanks, because it would look more official, I guess.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe we should consider if you guys email in a request for delay, I'll print it and also drop it off at their office. Just so
Okay.
there's, it's very clear for everybody.
Right, and there's no question of Optimum making its own decision, and
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think Optimum's being run by robots, although robots might do a better job. Yeah, they're the ones that I had to get a new email because I wasn't getting any new emails. So I had to quickly come up with a new plan.
yeah, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to do the same thing, although it's a terrifying thought.
Yeah, it's It's clunky, but should I talk about 525 now or later? I guess I'll talk about that later. 525 Flax Hill is already sort of half demolished. Last time I checked in June. So the demo delay that came through today is sort of, I don't know how to.
Well, I
So
know
what
you
happened?
brought it up a while ago, and then when I saw
Yeah,
that up, I was like, wait, I mean,
I saw the tripod. I think I talked to neighbors that assured me they were just renovating because it's the daughter of the owner who I guess died. And I did trespass to look at this because I was concerned about the grave there. And a good portion of the house was already demolished. And I'm not saying that there wasn't a reason for that, but it seems like something's not following the proper procedure. If there's already a tripod up for.
So did they
electrical.
not get, did they not get a permit? Did they not? I mean, how did this happen?
I'm not sure. I didn't. I just heard, and I guess I should have checked for a permit at the time, but it was pouring rain. That it was just going to be a renovation. To me, it looked like a super gut renovation because that's what it looked like at that point. So I guess maybe they honestly did need to change their plan, but it looked like this had already been the plan all along. So
what I heard this morning after, we got the email from Bill Ireland was that their original plan was just to update the house. So I guess
right.
a grandmother owned it and then her daughter owned the house next door. And when the grandmother passed away, the daughter gave it to her child. So
Okay.
it sounds like it's a young couple. And
Yeah.
their hopes were to just renovate with like new electrical and stuff. Kind of a, almost like a cleanup.
Right.
And then as they were going in to do that, they found that like, I guess the fireplace chimney is being held up by like a 2x4 and the floors had some rot and some windows had some rot. And so, but they really loved what the house looks like. And so now they're going to demo it and rebuild it as is. The one difference that I heard is that the current house is within the setback, so it doesn't conform to zoning. So they'll have to move it on the lot to comply with current zoning.
Yeah, I mean, I trust them to build. It is a vernacular, so it's not like architecturally significant, but following the rules that are written is kind of important because I'm not sure if having the house was wide open at this point in June. So whether damage happened since then, but again, I'm just talking rhetorically here now. What really happened? I wasn't watching every minute, so I don't know, but that's something we need to. And how do we keep an eye on the entire city when things like this are happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is tricky.
And it is
Yeah.
a pretty Italianate house.
Yeah.
And, but Bill seems to think that it's unsafe. I'm
Mhm.
the guy, and he is generally sympathetic to historic buildings, so.
Yeah. Also at that point, all the pipes had been taken out of the building. They were in a pile next to the house, next to a dumpster. But I guess we need to move on to reports from boards now. And thanks, Todd, for your update on Old Kings Highway.
Happy to help.
Okay. So Diane Jelleret, or is it Gordon? Just kidding. No.
Hi.
Oh, sorry. Taylor. It's Taylor. Hi.
Yeah, I'm at another event, so that's why I'm not on video. So, but you can
Okay.
hear me. So we are all set with our new exhibit that will be opening officially to the public on Sunday, November 7th, 1 to 4. We're really excited. And if you come to the Haunting at Mill Hill, you'll see it, because as you walk in, it's open. But our official open house will be Sunday the 7th, 1 to 4, timed entry, mask required. We're really happy, and I've been running around doing all the last minute stuff that has been needed. So and it will be up for a very long time, just to let you know. And it's looking great. So we're very, very happy that we're finally got this up for the city, and we can actually move forward. And the first talk will be by Eric Chandler. He will be talking about Sheldon's course. And it will be on November 13th, and it will be via Zoom. So everybody can dial in and watch that. And the second talk that we'll have will be on December 9th by Ernie Wiegand, and he's an NCC professor that is in archaeology, so that should be pretty cool. So that will be in-person hybrid. We're going to experiment with that because we haven't done a hybrid. And that might be our first hybrid event that we're going to have. So we're excited. And the Haunting at Mill Hill tours, I think everybody was excited about getting out because all our tours are sold out. So we're very happy. So the weekend before was our first weekend that was all sold out, and for this weekend they're all sold out in advance again. So this is all good. Again, our 11th season for doing this, and so we're excited about moving forward. And pretty much that's what we have for now. Between the end of the year, there will probably be one more event. And again, it'll be via Zoom, 1 or 2 more events before now and the end of the year. But that's what we're up to. And then we're now starting to make plans for 2022. Any questions?
No?
I have a question, Diane.
Yes,
The Zoom talks, will they be available for later viewing?
absolutely. It'll be on Facebook and probably the link on our website, because that's what we normally do. So right now, if you missed any of the talks, especially if they were free, they are on our Facebook page. So you can always go back, and I'm pretty sure the links are on our website too.
Okay, thank you.
So you can watch yourself, Eric.
Oh, yeah, like I don't do that enough, being the egomaniac that I am.
I have a question. Diane, are we doing something on the 4th?
Oh, yeah.
The 4th, that's a
Okay.
reception. That's that's the private reception.
Oh,
Oh,
That's the 4th. So everybody on the historical commission should have gotten a invitation, electronic invitation to come on the 4th. So that's our pre-opening before the public opening.
okay.
I didn't get one.
Oh, sorry.
You
What
should
reception?
have. I sent it to your school one. Maybe they're blocking. I'll send me an email with your personal email, because I took off the email off the website for all the historical commission
Probably got
commissioners.
filtered in one of my blockers, and I just didn't notice it.
Yeah, it might be in your spam, but you're invited. You can just show up.
Diane, did it come from you?
Anyways,
Did it come from
Yeah,
you?
it came through as a paperless post invite,
Hmm.
and it's coming from info@norwalkhistoricalsociety.org.
So I don't think I got it either.
No, I didn't either.
All right, it's paperless post. It should have went directly to you.
But we're gonna
Look for
come
it. Look in your
anyway.
spam folder. Huh?
We're gonna come
Look in
anyway
your
with
spam folder.
torches and
Look in your
pitchforks.
spam folder. I'm sorry. What did you say?
I said we're gonna come anyway with torches and pitchforks.
I know. You're gonna come anyway.
Oh, that's the
Yes.
next night.
hey, Diane, I also, do you need us to do anything, bring anything, or,
No, we got it all handled. Nope.
okay, and I just want to tell all the commissioners, we had the best tour of, the museum. with a senior group, which I was part of. He did, everybody was raving about Diane. It was great. Old people they love history. We've got to get more, more involved. I'll find more old people to go. Right? Sorry.
I know a few.
Great.
Anyhow, thank you.
Thanks, Diane. Okay, next up, it looks like we have Patsy posing as Susan.
Well, we've got a problem.
Oh.
Susan, again, has not been invited to this meeting. And obviously, we have brought this to your attention multiple times. And
Yes.
it's very, very frustrating. Why is that happening?
I don't know. I mean, Laura, do we use both addresses, both versions of?
Yeah, we sent it to two Susan Kilgore email addresses.
It's Gilgore. Her
Yeah.
name is Gilgore.
Yeah,
Let's look. My only thought is, having ensured that we sent them, could she possibly look in her spam? Just because I know that's been an issue for some people the first time they get them.
Well, it shouldn't be her first time.
it has been
She's
going
been
on
here for 12
Yeah.
years. I mean, it's outrageous. It's got to get fixed. Who's responsible for fixing it?
I can show you, I guess it's me. I can show you the email I'm just pulling up. These are the two email addresses that we sent it to.
I can't split it all and I don't have her email in front of me, but you need to
Okay.
check it. She didn't get it. She made another appointment. And so she's not with us tonight, but that's not good. It's just
Right.
not good. We've got to get this fixed. It's very annoying. So
Patsy,
anyway.
Patsy, for what it's worth, Patsy, I have the same problem with Norwalk Community College's lifetime learners
Yeah,
trying to get their catalogs through the course of the year.
yeah.
I have repeatedly signed up to receive it electronically. My wife has signed up to get it electronically. She gets it, I do not. And for some reason, it's got to be a glitch in the system that they have, possibly the same here, that for whatever reason, it's getting bumped somehow. But I have requested like 8 times to get the catalog electronically. And I never get it.
Whatever. Who's
Yeah.
gonna be responsible for trying to fix it?
I am emailing the woman who sends out the invitations now and CCing you and Susan. So hopefully you'll see any responses that come back, or maybe she might have a solution as to why it didn't get through.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been going on for even during the other Rebecca days, etc. So
2 years.
Yeah.
It's yeah. Anyway, so
okay,
what's happening at the mansion? It started at 7 o'clock on Monday. So the Netflix people are on site. It's quite an experience. I've been there much of the time. It's very beneficial to us financially for operating, but they're doing some cosmetic, cleaning and upgrading, which is also wonderful to see on our floors and our front door. So they will be there through Thanksgiving. So because of that, which this all came about within like a month's amount of time from the beginning of the request to writing contracts and getting it up and going this past Monday. It's been a huge amount of work, as you can probably imagine. But the people are delightful to work with. They're very excited to be in Norwalk. They're filming in other locations in Norwalk. Yesterday they were, I don't know exactly where, but So they're there through Thanksgiving, as I mentioned, and when they take down, we will then immediately set up for our holiday exhibit for the month of October, December. We are holding back on a lot of specific dates like open house and stuff because their contract has a clause where if they can't meet their deadline, they can extend a few days at an additional price. So we don't want to set dates and then have to change them. So that's what's happening there. The bigger picture for the mansion is our major construction project that we are funded for $7.5 million between the city and the state. We have spent 3 years in design and in planning, and we continue to do that. It appears currently that we don't have enough money with the $7.5 million to do what has to be done within one package. Through this mechanical upgrade project has been going on since the planning stage in 2008. And through that time frame, we had pulled out different components of the work that needed to be done that could be done separately. And now we're at the point where everything has to be done together, so that once you open up the walls, you have to put both the electrical and the water, the fire suppression systems in and whatever else. So it's complicated. We're working it out. We're in the middle of doing interviews with construction managers. That we have interviewed three different companies through City Hall, purchasing department, and we have not selected one person yet, but we hope to get that done within the month. So it means we will not be moving or starting the construction in 2022. So we will still be in the building next year. We're pushing it out a year. We are reaching out to wherever we can reach out for additional funds. So we will be submitting a sizable request to the city of Norwalk for additional capital money. We're looking for state and federal money as well. So we're planning now to do a full program next year. It's been a challenge for us between having to cancel our Halloween and other events for October and November. We are now starting to plan for programs on site rather than off site. So staff is challenged, and we're working hard to pull it all together. We are having a virtual annual tea on November 7th. We had our gala at the mansion a couple of weeks ago, and several of you came. It was very successful. We had a wonderful talk from our architect, David Scott Parker. Dana was there. I don't know if you want to comment, Dana, but it was a great evening of very educational.
Yeah, terrific.
Yeah. So we're working hard, and we'll see what the movie looks like.
Hey, Patsy, how much are you short in terms of funds?
I really don't want to go there. Because
Okay, because
it's a lot. It's a lot. And the minute you mention a figure, it gets, out there. So the reason we're interviewing these construction managers, it's with the hope that they can reanalyze all of the plans and see if they can save money with a different approach to construction. And also that they will go out on the street to get estimates. The estimates that we have now are sort of in-house estimates, through the architects and their consultants. And I think most of you know right now with COVID, everything is jumping out, products and prices are jumping all over the place. A lot of the specific equipment that we would need for the heating system and stuff might not even be available this coming year. So there's all these different components. So it's a little early, Tom, for us to answer that question. And I just don't want misinformation out there.
No, I understand. I know
Yeah.
it's going to come up if you're asking the city for money, but we can talk.
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, no, it will. And hopefully, well, we don't have much time. Actually, it's what, 3 weeks when we have to submit.
Yeah, it's pretty
requests.
soon.
Yeah, we probably won't have the feedback from the construction managers. That could be a 2-month process, because we're going to re-interview them for specifics, and then, we have to choose one, and contracts have to be written, and you know how that goes. So we're probably looking at a couple of months at best before we get feedback.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
So it's complicated, but it's also fascinating for when you look at the history of the building, because we're really at a crossroads of just staying where we are or moving the building into this century so that it can be maximized and used for all the purposes that all of us here tonight are focused on, and that is history and educating people and the importance of continuity in history. So our IT is one of the really difficult problems for us because it's limited because of the thickness of the walls, the construction, the stone, and then brick. We can't get service, so we can't do a lot of programs. That's one thing. But when you actually see the conditions where our staff are in, and through COVID, 3 people are in a room. Probably it's not square, but it's probably about 12 by 12, which is a challenge. The building is huge, but we can't use it because we don't have electricity on the 2nd and 3rd floors and very little in the basement. We don't have any fire protection, which means we can't take many people upstairs, even with flashlights. It's pretty amazing. But one wonderful thing I experienced this week with this movie, they took out most of our furniture and they're bringing furniture in. But last night I stood in the conservatory looking through the library, the music room, and then to the salon. And with all the furniture out and the floors polished in the rotunda, it was absolutely breathtaking. I spent 20 plus years there, and I never experienced this before. The whole room, everything lit up because our different color wood just created light and activity. It was awesome, just really awesome. So we have a treasure, and I know you people appreciate it, but it's a serious national treasure, and Norwalk needs to maximize it. And so in order to do that, we have to invest in it. That's my emotional pitch, I guess, right?
That's right. I'm doing a virtual trip there
Have
tomorrow.
you explored the Historic Restoration Fund grants from the state?
Pardon?
Historic Restoration Fund
Yeah,
grants, there's a
we-
$200,000 maximum.
Yeah, we started to do one. Well, we have it all done. It's all done, ready for the front doors. And Susan Schweitzer has been working with us, and we have all the paperwork from David Scott Parker and other specialists. And just actually today, we decided not to go for that. It's a matching grant. Uh, Because if when the doors are repaired and we thought we were going to be under construction next year, and that's a perfect time where they put up temporary construction doors and take the existing doors off site to restore them. But we're not going to be doing that. So we don't want to take the doors out and put up temporary doors, when we're not in that kind of a building mode. So we pushed that off to the spring. Susan Sweitz and I just discussed that today. So that one, and we have job meetings, by the way, with our architects and with Todd Levine and Kristen Marquet every Monday at 1:00. And this is pretty significant, I think, for a lot of the work that I've done in the past. I've never had that experience where the state have asked to be part of our weekly job meetings. And they sometimes go, usually at least an hour, sometime an hour and a half, and they join in on Zoom. They've been down 2 or 3 times. They're very, very much, what's the right word? Interested in the project and supportive of it and helping us in every way that they can.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thanks, Patsy.
You're welcome. I'm going to leave you guys to your own demise, all right? Night.
Okay. I don't know if we have a buildings report because David isn't here, but I could do cemeteries.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Sorry.
Hi, sorry.
Wow, David, I thought you were in Texas.
Hi. Oh, you can still talk from Texas.
Is he in Texas?
Yep, I guess. But now he's
All
not
right.
talking. Come on, David.
Well, when he talks, tell him I need to talk to him tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, goodbye. I can't get out. I can't get out.
You're trapped.
You're
Ha-ha.
trapped.
Yeah.
Try again here. Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is the buildings report. Buildings, the main effort right now, of course, is the Mill Hill ADA project around the barn and the jail and finishing that in the stairway, which I mentioned last month. The council did approve at the beginning of this month an additional $34,000 because I know we're going to spend our full change order contingency budget. But we're slowly working things out with the vendor. They're not quickly turning things around, but we're moving forward. And we're pretty confident we're not going to spend all the additional funds, but we're still working that out. I'll have a full list for you at the November meeting if we meet in November. And other than that, let's see. Diane may have mentioned they replaced facilities management replaced the roof on the museum, which had not been replaced since it was built in 1973. So we got our money's worth out of that roof. And the starting to work on the transition of responsibilities between myself and facilities management, and that is all going really well. And hope to hopefully have that smoothed out by the end of the budget process. We'll be transferring a small amount of money to their budget, whatever we spend on buildings and electric and water, probably less than $15,000 out of our budget to their budget. Other than that, I started work with the architect, the request for bids package for the putting in the kitchen so I hope to get that out by the end of the year and get that work done either early.
Dave, we're missing a few words. You're cutting out.
Oh, sorry, the internet's not that great here.
Right, yeah.
But that's about all I have. Any questions on buildings?
Just one about, it's facilities management is part of the city, right? That's a city thing?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Allen Lowe. It's under
Oh, okay.
Department of Public Works,
Okay,
Facilities Management. And then they have a company, is where they outsource all of
Okay.
the people all work for them that they're very, very good. We've worked with
Okay.
them on, they handle the museum building and they'll just pick up everything else, which will be fantastic.
okay,
I think
terrific.
that's all I have on buildings,
Okay,
unless anyone has any questions.
can't think of anyone? Bueller? No? Okay, thanks, David. So I'll talk about cemeteries. I'll stop saying, I stopped by Pine Island. The city took down Mulberry Tree and a hanging down branch. Unfortunately, I'm kind of kicking myself for not moving some stones that were leaning against that mulberry tree because at least one of them is all broken up. So I'm kind of disappointed about that. Why those weren't moved or how they got broken, I'm not sure how to address that problem. But in the other news at Brookside, they didn't get around to taking down the tree. The tree in question fell down and hit nothing. As far as I can tell, it just went between a 6-foot gap between some stones and didn't even hit the stone wall. Very strange how that happened, but it did.
The spirits were protecting it.
Yes. And I'm not sure. Yeah, there was another branch taken down too that was blocking, unless Mark did that, one that's blocking the stone in the corner for Samuel Heaton. I'm not sure how we're going to deal with mowing Reed Cemetery, because that might be left up to us. But at this point, I can't do it because of the poison ivy in the grass that's gotten kind of high. In fact, who could do that? But maybe they'll just kind of die back in the winter, we hope.
Well,
But
that's the time to mow, but remember, that's not, the city does not actually own that cemetery. We have not
Okay.
taken it over. So,
Okay.
so it's not technically our responsibility, but nobody
Oh,
else
okay.
can do it. So
We'll get some goats. I'll borrow a friend's goats.
good idea.
Yeah, well, she lives in Weston though. So that's it for cemeteries. I suppose we'll be hearing from David again on financial.
Yeah, so the big effort is has been alluded to is the budget process for 2022-23 has kicked off. I think everything is due November 24th or 25th, something like that. I actually am trying to be ahead of the game here to get everything done. And I went through it when I was on the plane to Texas and pretty much figured out, as Patsy mentioned, our biggest request is going to be money for the mansion. We are pressing our federal representatives for help because Patsy, I don't know, we're going to have to, when I submit the number, it's going to be public and that will be in a few weeks. You know, it's a lot of money. I don't want to, respect what Patsy said, but it's multiple millions of dollars. So I don't think the city will be able to fund all of it, but may have to kick in some. Maybe we can get some more from the state. Maybe we can get some from the feds. Anyway, we're knocking on all doors, but that's going to be our big. But we're going to request the full amount so that everyone knows what the nut is, and then how we go about doing that's another story. But it is really we're up against a wall on this one. We have to find the money to get this done in order to move the mansion forward. So that's going to be our major request. Fortunately, next year, I think we still have some money in a couple of buckets that we haven't spent that we'll be spending I'm going to ask for more money, most of the money for the jail, the interior renovation, to get that moving finally. And there was one other small request, I think for Mill Hill, maybe $50,000, but it's not, other than the mansion ask, which will be huge. Our normal ask will be less than what we usually ask for anyway. So it's not a big deal. Expense budget, I expect to be flat. Will actually be decreasing because we'll be transferring some of that, but we're not asking for any additional funding there. So, but hopefully we'll have that. I'll hope to have that done and turned in really in the next couple of weeks. And I'll share a copy if we do a November meeting. So that's it. Any other questions?
No? Anyone? Thanks, David. What kind of souvenirs are you bringing back for us? Just kidding.
Nothing.
All right. Thanks a lot. Next up is old business. A is the vote on extending demolition day from 120 to 180 days and definition update.
So I included that I carried it over from the last meeting because it was discussed in the last meeting, but I'm not sure, even though we have enough of a quorum to hold a meeting, I don't know if we have enough of a quorum to vote. So we might consider postponing that until we have enough people here to vote.
Well, if we have a quorum, we have enough to vote.
Oh, okay. Then, up to you guys.
Okay. So we all read the additions to chapter 55.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Todd, a question for you. On your new E section, the lifting and relocating of a building when it's an existing site or to another site. So one of the things I know is going to come up are people lifting their buildings for flooding. So how do you think about that?
Well, I mean, every case is different. So, you could take that out if you want, or you can add I took that pretty much whole cloth from the Connecticut Trust or Preservation Connecticut. So, feel free to modify whatever seems like it needs to be modified.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to anticipate the discussion at the Ordinance Committee. So that's a question that's going to come up. But I mean, it's almost rhetorical in a question in a way. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm trying to think about how we're going to approach this when it comes up.
Or you could easily say with the exception of FEMA required.
Yeah, that may be the easy answer. Okay.
Well, but the demolition delay is about demolitions. It's not about raising a house. Raising a house isn't a demolition. You don't file for a demo permit to raise a house.
Under the way this is drafted, you would.
Yeah.
Yeah, David, what I did was I just pulled the whole model ordinance from the definitions from the model ordinance from the Preserve Connecticut site. And that's got all kinds of stuff in it. And I didn't expect all of it to survive, but it's a good start.
Yeah, so I think when it goes to the Ordinance Committee, we're going to want to see that model ordinance. I'm all in favor of moving it on to them, but I just think we have to assume it's going to be reviewed. There will be possible changes.
Sure, easily done. It's on their website.
Well, I think when it's first brought to the Ordinance Committee, it'd be useful for you to be there, Todd, explain it.
Happy to do it. I could even probably bring a circuit rider from Preserve Connecticut if you thought that was useful.
Yeah, well, Lisa Shanahan's the chair, so let us get through next week, and then we can figure out.
Okay.
We're still around,
Right. Yeah, I understand. But You know, however you want to do it, I'm happy to work with you.
Yeah.
So are we ready to vote on this tonight then?
I make a motion to extend the demo delay ordinance.
Okay, anyone else?
Second,
Well, you're actually, just to be technical, you're doing more than that.
Okay,
So I would say
Oh.
your motion is to move the proposed amendment to the ordinances, to this ordinance on. It's more than just 100. You're changing definitions too.
so,
So I strike that motion and I make a new motion to extend the ordinance and with the proposed definition changes.
Sure.
Second.
Or just move the proposed ordinance on. I mean, that we have in front of you. Your
okay,
call.
moving it to
Okay.
zoning, wait,
A common council.
common council, okay. Okay, so I'll need another second for Mark's new,
seconded,
okay. Thank you. So how do we vote on that?
You lift your hands.
I have to, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so
6.
that is, what's the word?
Unanimous.
Unanimous. Unanimous on that.
you should have 6 with yourself.
Yes, I did count myself twice. No, wait. No, I didn't. So 6 of our present commissioners.
1, 2, 3.
And next up on old business is B, certified local government. Or is this also, oh, ordinance committee? I did find one little typo on the ordinance memorandum in
Well, you
paragraph.
can
Okay.
fix that. I mean, that's
Okay.
separate.
Okay. I'll just, do we want to do that now or just send it to Laura later?
You can send it to me later. I'm taking
Okay.
notes on everything everyone said, and
Okay,
if you guys have anything you want to add to it, or like I'll include the link to the example memo or the example ordinance from the state that Todd mentioned. So
right.
I'll make a few changes to the memo that accompany the ordinance.
Okay. So I'm one of those people that still needs to do a resume. I know Lisa did hers.
Can I ask a threshold question? Excuse my ignorance. What is, or somebody can remind me what this is? The certified local government. What does that do for us? What does it mean?
I'm happy to describe it unless David or Todd wants to.
Todd's
It gives
muted.
us,
Oh.
it gives us respect from the state, the SHPO office.
It's a,
You know,
it's a federal.
once you
designation.
adopt their rule, really
It's a-
deal with you better than they do today. They also have, there's a lot of, not a lot, but there's a lot of grant funding for, you know, resources and things like that that we're not eligible for, that we will then be eligible for. I mean, those practical things. I'm sure Todd has a better explanation.
Well, that's the bottom line in terms of, you know, the basic benefits to us is we become eligible for a lot of grants that we can't get now. It's a federal designation, and it's really quite worthwhile. In you know, like David said, you also get a certain level of respect from that, and more to the point, we get more money.
But what do we do for it though? I mean, what do we have to do to show them we qualify? Other
You
than
just
give
have
our-
to, you just have to kind of, you know, fill in the blanks. It's a bureaucratic process. So we already qualify. We have a preservation ordinance. We have as it turns out, we have a local historic district. And so we hit all the marks. We just have to submit it.
So Todd and David, usually if it sounds too good to be true, are you familiar with any people who've gone through this process to get all the goodies? Have they run into any difficulties as a result of being a certified entity?
Not that I've ever heard of.
David?
No, there's no downsides. This is all upside for us. There's really, it doesn't give us any additional requirements of stuff that we're not already doing, as Todd said, and then we get more money, and literally we'll get more respect from the SHPO than we do today. And I think that's it's, I don't care about the respect. It's when you want their help and support, it's a lot easier, and that's what I want. So.
Okay. I just had to ask the question.
And we have a local historic preservation plan.
Right. Well, we don't.
That's my question. It says a copy of a plan, if available, or a statement describing the existing proposed local preservation program. So we have that?
I'm not sure. We have one for the city-owned properties, but we don't have one for the city, which I've been asking for quite some time, but we don't have one for the city. So that may be one box that we cannot check until we do that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think it's a great idea. I just wonder what we're saying we have.
Well, let's look at, Westport is a certified local government, I believe. So we could talk to Westport and see what they have in place for that requirement.
Sounds good.
Way, and they have been encouraging us a couple of years to do this, and have said, we don't have to have every I dotted, T crossed. They're willing to overlook a bunch of stuff because I guess it's important for them for us to be a CLG. So I'm not too worried if we don't have the perfect stuff for each of their requests. We'll give them what we have, and if they say we have to do something, then we'll do it. It's nothing, as Todd mentioned, there's nothing in that list that we probably shouldn't have anyway, and I don't think there's anything too onerous.
Exactly right. In fact, I think the master plan, the current version of the master plan, mentions a citywide preservation plan.
Yeah, and I think there's enough in the citywide master plan that could even qualify for it, because they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, and
finesse things around to meet their requirements.
So who handles it? Mary Dunn? Okay, Mary Dunn is very accessible if she ever returns your call. And but when she does, she's really good.
That's true. She is really helpful once you can get a hold of her.
Exactly. But she's really good. So if you just kind of run this stuff down with her, she'll be happy to explain it and tell you where we are.
Does the historic resources inventory count for anything?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That and the number of historic districts and individually listed historic projects, property, individually listed historic buildings, and the National Historic Landmark. We should have been CLG a long time ago.
Okay. So that looks like a good thing, and we just need to send in our resumes.
We send those to Laura, right?
Yes.
Laura, I just sent mine.
Oh, thanks. And if you guys have any of the documents, like If you're, I sent the checklist out to everyone, so like if you have any of the documents on there besides the resume, like if you're aware of an old historic preservation plan or something like that, any of the checklist items, please send them to me because I've just been, looking for them in my time at work, but any help is appreciated.
Okay.
Laura, if you want to set some time with me, like in the next week or two, I'll go through it with you and brainstorm, and point you to what I haven't really
Awesome.
taken the time to look at it, but I'm happy to do that. Because like I said, there's the master plan, there's all these things that I know of that we can use. So
That would be great. Thank you.
And I have one that I wrote in grad school, which is horribly inadequate because it's student work, but at least it'll give you an idea. I mean, I got an A on it, but it'll give you an idea
Awesome.
what you're supposed to look like.
Cool.
Okay. Thanks, Laura, David, and Todd on that. Do we have any new business?
So I have a couple of things, but they're probably old business.
Okay. I don't know. Are you
we
talking,
lose him?
David?
Oh, no, so I was
Oh,
waiting
sorry.
for old business. So is it
Oh,
old
okay.
business?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. We're still going with old business then, David. Sorry.
All right. So speaking of Mary Dunn, as you may recall, the commission may recall last end of April, we rushed through through the council a request to apply for a planning grant, a no-match planning grant, to rewrite and update the Lockwood Matthews Mansion National Register nomination to include all of the outbuildings in the park. And this was a COVID thing. It was a one-time no match $20,000 grant, so we didn't have to provide a match. And the SHPO, of course, was overwhelmed with applications, and they've been State Historic Preservation Council, in like blocks of 10 from Mary Dunn day before yesterday, saying it was going to go to the council in November, and that which is great. And oh, by the way, can you give me a list of your last 5 years accomplishments and what you're planning to do going forward? And oh, I need the. So I sat down and I wrote out 4 pages of things we've accomplished on the mansion, the carriage house, the gardener's cottage, the laundry, the gate lodge, and the park, and the master plan, and the new fence. I mean, it was great. Just, I had literally 4 pages of bullet point stuff and so they'll have a really good idea of the level that we're working at. So I think that'll be very impressive. And Mary did reply back and say it was really awesome. Hopefully we'll be awarded our grant in November, and we can start to work on revising that. And the good thing about this revision, once it's accepted, then because only the mansion is on the National Register, the gate lodge, the carriage house, none of those buildings are on the register, so they are not eligible for us to apply for grants to the Historic Restoration Fund that Todd mentioned, the matching grants up to $150,000. And there's a ton of work projects we can do on the carriage house and gate lodge, et cetera, that need to be done that we can take those grants for, which will be great over the next few years because we have most of that work pretty well defined out. So I'm excited that that's finally moving forward. Oh yeah, and then the other thing was, I just wanted to ask the commission if I mentioned that I'm working with my historical society, working with Darren Raymond Locke and Diane, and Darren is going through the city's collection, and we're getting rid of stuff that is not, really historic and or specific to Norwalk. And we're being and in this first pass, we're just getting rid getting rid of, well, we don't know, we're not sure, or this is really nice, but we're giving every object a grade so that we can come back and further analyze in the future. But we know shouldn't be in the collection. But in order to do that, the commission will have to vote to formally de-access those items. And I was hoping we would be able to meet in person and I could just lay things out for the commission. But I'm afraid by the time we get to meet in person, the volume of stuff that you guys are going to have to vote on is going to be big. I was wondering if maybe 2 or 3 commissioners would like to volunteer to be a committee to come to the museum. We'll lay everything out, in once a month or every other month and say the items, this is what we know about them, et cetera, and get to then make a recommendation to the fuller commission so that we can start moving this stuff out. We're going to send pretty much everything to auction to be sold off that we don't need. But again, none of this is stuff that, I think there's some nice stuff, but totally not related to anything in Norwalk, and there's no reason to keep it. But if the commission says no, we want to keep it, then we'll keep it. But I'd like to somehow start that process, but it has to be an in-person thing, and I can't do it with the whole commission. So if there's a couple of people, I would ask her because I know
I'll do it.
Yes.
I can,
Dana
David, I
probably do it.
Eric?
That'd be great.
yeah.
So
Eric and
if
Dana.
Yeah, part of it's going to depend on an ongoing basis if I can get reappointed in 2022.
Yeah.
But in the interim, I can do that. Being a retired geezer, I've got time.
That would be terrific because we've already got 10 boxes, 10 bins of stuff that really shouldn't be in the collection. So
Everything must go.
No, we're not. We're being very careful, but this is just the obvious stuff, and we're just barely started. So
Are there shards involved?
There are no shards involved. We have actually already scrutinized the shards enough, so we're not touching the shards, but there's lots of other stuff. Ralph Bloom has been helping us, because he's very aware of what a lot of things are in the collection. So he's been actually very helpful. So we're taking advantage of his knowledge while we have it. So anyway, terrific.
Okay. So you wrote my name down as well?
Yes. And if anybody else has a burning desire, just let me know, send me an email or whatever.
If it's on the weekend, I can try. During the week, it's kind of hard with me with school.
Yeah, and no worries. You'll get to see formally have to vote on it, but
right.
The personal inspection can be done by the smaller committee. So that's great. Thank you.
Okay. Is that old business? Is that finished now? I think.
Yes.
All of our business, old business after all.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Okay, so number 7, do we have any new business? Going once?
I just have a question. I don't know if
Okay.
it's new business. Todd, excuse me. Todd, who owns the house on Butler Street? Does that have any direct correlation with the mansion?
Oh,
Uh-huh.
I think
Oh.
it's city owned now. No, it's owned.
One behind the gas station.
I looked that up and it's owned by somebody in Greenwich or LLC in Greenwich.
It's Paxton Knoll, the owner of the former owner of Waypoint, but he kept the ownership of that.
Okay.
And there's been an insane idea that's been out there for a while. They were, the former hat factory on, just around the corner, the brick building, 2-story brick building.
Yeah. The long building.
Originally, they were going to buy, they already own it. And originally, they were going to buy the site across the street and move it across the street because they were going to put this, mega movie theater in there. Well, I think that plan is dead. But they still have this desire, and they also couldn't, for whatever reason, couldn't buy the lot across the street. So the next variant was that they wanted to demolish that house on Butler Street and move part of the hat factory there, which makes no sense at all to me.
Oh, but they
Well,
could get it up straight.
Yeah,
And it
there's
will
a
be
third,
on an end.
there's a
Because
third
why would you-
iteration to that, Todd.
Oh, yeah.
He then decided that it wasn't feasible. That what they were actually going to do was cut the building into thirds, take the middle out, and then just take the two ends and stick them together. Literally, this is what he's telling us.
That's,
But then
that's new. Yeah.
his third iteration is that it is not feasible to move the building, so they were going to tear it down, save the bricks, and build a new building replica where the Butler
Right, yeah, well,
existing Butler Street
that,
building.
right, yeah,
So-
I heard that one too, and each one is more insane than the one before.
Right, which is obviously not going to happen. So
Right, so, because, I mean, here you're tearing down two actual historic buildings to build a fake one with parts of one or the other.
1 + 1 = 0.
Yeah, I mean,
But there's a house,
so,
there's a
so
house.
far, nothing's happened. It's unlikely that anything will actually happen. I think that they will, the problem is that both of those buildings are vacant and both of them are deteriorating because of that.
So
The house on Butler
the
Street- Go on, David.
going to tell you, Todd, the Toll brothers who bought that piece from Paxson called the Pinnacle, they have submitted plans that have been to build that building there and tear down the factory. The demolition permit for that building was approved years ago. That was approved when zoning first approved the Pinnacle project. So we're not going to see a demo permit for that. I don't believe it's already approved.
But don't they expire?
I thought
No.
they did. No?
Yeah,
No,
but it's
I
a new
don't-
plan, so they'd have to pull a new permit, wouldn't they?
I don't know. I don't think so. This was the instant that spurred us to fix the problem with zoning approving things that required a demolition of a historic building. So we fixed it after this one, which is why I think it's still there, and they're planning on demoing it, and they're going to demo it. So that the building on the Pinnacle site. Butler Street is up in the air. There are several parties that are interested in it. Also the Master Park Plan Committee for Matthews Park that I'm involved with and Dana's involved with. We've made a recommendation to the city, purchase that property and incorporate it into the park. So in some use, so there's that, and that's hanging out there. So why are you asking, Mark?
Because I drive by it when I go to the dump and I'm like, what? I hate seeing it deteriorate.
Yeah, I don't.
Could we invoke a blight ordinance so that we can't see it deteriorate anymore? Because now it's getting all overgrown. So could we invoke a blight ordinance to make them clean it up? And then it would kind of prevent a little bit of deterioration.
Yes, you could make a blight complaint.
Good idea.
That is a good idea.
Yeah. And
They at
the
least have to
thing
clean
is-
it up.
And if demo permits don't expire, they should.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
So Tom, how can we go about making an ordinance for that?
Well, that's a zoning issue, but I think it's a good
Oh.
point.
It's
Well, it's building
building.
it's building. We should check. Laura, maybe Laura can check on that. I may be wrong on that, but I didn't think they expired.
But I almost think because it's going to be a new proposal, they would have to pull all new permits.
But zoning already approved all of it.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying zoning, but it goes through building, but if the zoning has already approved the project, I think it's already encompassed in that, but I think we should look at it.
And they already pulled a demo permit on it years ago. So the
Well, that's
question
why-
is that expired?
Well, it's a new
Right.
owner and a new project. It's a question
But
to
it's-
Laura.
Well, it's not. I mean, they sold the rights and then they came in and modified the project and approved it. So
Well,
it's
I
not
guess-
technically a new project.
Well, I guess you can talk about what's new in that project because it doesn't have the same, things like the movie theater and all this fancy stuff they're going to have, the bowling alley.
All
What
gone.
constitutes, what constitutes the same project? I don't know.
Right, but it's already approved and they're doing construction drawings and they expect to file for building permits in early winter sometime and start construction in the spring.
Hmm.
They're moving
Yeah.
forward.
I talked to Adam Blank about this. He called me. And I told him my take on it about, what I just said. And he ran that by the developer and they said, what I said was just leave it there, just leave them both there, either sell them or do something else with them. But just don't mess with them, save yourself a lot of time and money. And he said they decided to just let it ride and see what happens. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I think what it meant was they're just gonna, see if they can, get by with what's already been approved without changing anything.
I know that they are moving forward. I'm on the redevelopment commission and we approved the design review, the architect's design review of the front facade. That's why I know all this is because that we approved that 3 or 4. The status recently.
That's a good thing to bring up though, because,
Construction.
it's been going on for so long, everybody's forgotten about it.
Yeah, whenever I'm at the Norwalk New Arts Place, people ask me what's going on next door, and I don't know what to tell them.
Yeah,
Of course, it must be my fault.
because nobody knows.
That hole is there. And that is one of our more successful things we approved, I think. If you haven't been there yet, the new Norwalk Art Space.
Yeah, that's great.
I went to the jazz brunch on Saturday morning. It was very
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah, that's a great use for that building.
Yeah. Okay, have we covered all the new business? I guess that was off of Mark's question.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Tom. And anyone, a second?
I'll
Oh, I
second.
heard, it's usually
A
Eric. Okay.
second.
A third. Fourth. Okay, so all in favor of adjourning, we vote for that, I guess. Yes.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Until next
Thank you.
time.
Okay.
Bye-bye.